welcome everybody. Hopefully you can hear me properly over the noise of the traffic in the background. But we are in India. But anyway, so we're in India and we're on honeymoon, and yes, I've been given permission to do this. I don't know why. Is that right, Karen?
Absolutely, 100%.
No, that's plenty. Right. So this little video is going to be more about actually the riding experience in India, and I'm going to take you along with us. We're going to go from, where are we? Apura, and we're going to go to Kalangut and get some fuel in an unconventional way. And you can watch the chaos. It's an Indian holiday today, so the roads are going to be busy. I see they're busy, so it should be quite entertaining if nothing else. But I'll show you what we're going to be doing on, and I'm going to do some more about this in the other video that I'll do. And we are going on the green machine. There it is, the Bullet 350 Classic in military colours. So come along for the ride, and it should be quite fun. But before we do that, we'll have a little word from our sponsor, and I'll see you on the bike in a second. Take care.
Hey guys, it's me again, Milo, and I'm just hanging out in my jacuzzi here. Well, it's a shower really, that's all I got, but I want to talk to you about Jeff. Jeff just a crazy cat, you know. I said, Jeff, you need to go and watch Tour Rider, your life will be so much better, just like everybody else. And now look at him, he's like Jeff Lynne. I think he plays for the Electric Light Orchestra. But anyway, I'm gonna drink my Bordeaux. Remember, Tour Rider, I love you.
Right, here we go everybody. Switching on. No idea what the camera angle is going to be like because I've got this thing strapped to my chest. But it should be entertaining if nothing else. We're getting a shot of a man in his undergarments there, but never mind. Right, are we all ready? Mm-hmm. Let the mayhem begin. A bit of a precursor to why we've now got the Enfield, and it is a bike that we were going to get anyway regardless, not necessarily this one but an Enfield. So when we arrived in Goa, we went for a quick walk and we just thought we'd have a look around the area where we decided to stay, and noticed very quickly there weren't any pavements. And then you suddenly realise why everybody is on scooters or in cars, because you take your life in your hands. So the scooter that we did have, it was a Yamaha something or other, 125 or 150, quite a posh one. But we were only going to have that just for half a day, just to get our bearings and see where the Enfield garage was and stuff like that, which I'm going to show you in another video. But the interesting thing about Goa is and in India in general, is that they all drive on the left, so it's nothing too unfamiliar to us when we get onto the roads here. Apart from when you go to the really busy areas, you can have motorbikes and cars and everything coming straight at you, buses, lorries, cows, dogs and stuff, and you'll see a little bit of that on this road trip, or on this video. But what I found really interesting with the moped was that because it's such a short wheel, short wheel or small wheel, is that they don't ride the bumps so well. And what's funny when you're on a bike like this with a decent sized wheel is that it's easy to catch up all the mopeds and then go past them, because you do have to pay attention to the potholes and the bumps, but not in the same way that they do on the mopeds. And the minute we got onto this bike, it was just, well, chalk and cheese is not enough really. It was just a complete revelation to get onto the Enfield. And there will be another video. There's going to be 2 or 3 more videos with this one where I talk about the bike specifically. which I'll link to this one. But this is really just about the ride, just to give you an idea what it's like actually riding in India. And this part of India is not, the busiest, but what you don't see in this part of India compared to where I've been, say, Kolkata or Delhi, are the tuk-tuks. You don't really see the tuk-tuks, and I think that's partly because the tuk-tuks are not going to be that good on these roads. The moped hire, you see thousands of mopeds here, is pretty cheap. Well, it's cheap to us, not necessarily to the Indians, the resident Indians here, but you're looking at about £2.50 a day to hire a moped. There are all these yellow and red Honda Activias. I don't know why they named it after yogurt, but there you go. They're always little Activias, and they whiz around all over the place with 1, 2, 3, 4 people on them. They don't have to worry about. Well, in India, you have the driver, if you like, has to wear a crash helmet. Passengers don't. We obviously took a bit of protection with us, so we had the 2 helmets actually from Enfield. I had my gloves, were about my only real bit of protection really, but I always had covered arms and stuff like that. But when you look at the bumps in these roads, some of these roads are pretty shocking, and the Enfield, just cruised over this stuff. And the joy of this bike was that its slow moving stability. When you're almost static, you still don't put your feet down. It's almost like stabilizers come out, and it's extremely stable at low speed. But yeah, what a cracking piece of kit this was to pick up, and also the pillion comfort is really, really good. Always dodging people. It's like riding in India is like the best video game ever, but you're actually really in it. It's not like what is it, augmented reality. It's like the real thing, but you're actually in it, and you get bikes coming at you from all angles, and it's just really good fun. But the key thing is that it's all quite slow. The maximum speed limit on these roads is 40 kilometers an hour, which is 25, something like that. So it's pretty slow. But with the Enfield, you get that ability to overtake quite easily, and it's incredibly nippy around vehicles. But as I say, the review of the bike I'll do in the next episode. But just getting used to this environment. Now it is hot. We were looking at about 32 degrees most days, but the heat doesn't really bother you. It's the humidity, and you're sweating like anything. And when you're getting on the road, this is lovely. It's really lovely. And then you get these real pothole areas and stuff, and then you get these little open stretches where it's quiet. It lulls you into a full sense of security. You think, oh, that's a lovely bit of road. And then you need to make sure, because you end up with these traffic calming humps as you come back into it, sort of built up areas, and you can't always see them very quickly. These knives, they've got chevrons on, but the other ones you just can't see. When you go through villages, you can't see them. So of course it's great for the driver, it's not a problem, but for your pillion, if your damping's not very good, they're just going to come flying over your head. But that's why the mopeds tend to go much slower over those. And the Enfield didn't have that problem. It really didn't have that problem. And it was at this point that I realised it had had my crash helmet done up. How bad is that? I know there's nobody wandering around without any crash helmets at all. But yeah, you got to have your lid done up.
Lid up.
I was actually wearing, it's an open face lid, and I was wearing sunglasses because there's a lot of dust and grit in the air, and also wearing the little sort of scarf, snood, whatever you want to call it, what you call it then, just over my mouth and sort of covering my nose, and that works really well here. Works really well. So back to that. Hiring this bike, so this was hired from the main Enfield dealer in Goa, which is again, there's going to be in another video for that place, but that dealer, that dealership is sort of owned and run by the head of Enfield, as far as I can understand it, and it's a fantastic place. So do watch out for that one. But hiring from them, and I did make sure prior to this that because they're a proper bona fide place, if you like, they're not a backstreet bike hirer. You need an international driving license. Now that sounds quite complicated, but it's not. You go to the post office, take some photographs and the rest of it. I can't even remember how much it was. It was only a couple of quid or something, £5, and you get your international driving license, and they stamp it. They just say to you, well, where are you going to be travelling? And I said, well, India. And the nice lady at the post office just stamped everywhere. You can just stamp the whole lot. And I wouldn't have been able to hire this bike without that. The street hirers, if you like, you call them that, they didn't need any of that. They didn't even see my license. They just wanted the money, which is fine, absolutely fine. The Yamaha that I hired cost me about £9 for the day, even though we only had a few hours. But they also took a £20 deposit. The Enfield garage, which I really can't emphasise, they're lovely guys. It was 1,200 rupees a day for this bike, which is about £10.50, £11, something like that. No deposit required. And we had this bike for the whole duration of the trip after this. And you really can't get around Goa without a vehicle, a motorbike. You can do it in taxis and that, but this is by far the cheapest way of doing it. And as long as you're careful on the roads and have your wits about you, do not have a drink. The police are very well. Do not have a drink. Do not ride tired. Be on your game when you're riding in India, and you'll be perfectly all right. People will beep. The beeping is not to have a go at you. It's just to let you know they're there. I'm coming up behind you. I'm in front of you, but you're sort of slightly on my side of the road. Whatever it is, there's no animosity in it. It's just to let you know they're there. And you'll see it on the back of trucks. It'll say things like, "Please honk, please honk," so they know you're there. And coming up to these junctions and stuff, people are just going to cross it, but it sort of doesn't matter. It sort of works somehow because you're all going quite slowly and people understand it. It doesn't feel dangerous. I'm not saying it's not, but it just doesn't feel dangerous at all. It feels very natural. After a few days, you really get the idea of it. Two guys in front of here having a conversation on their yellow and red yogurt moped, all made by Honda. You see most of the stuff you see is Honda, the moped wise. I did ask some of the guys that I met, how much are those mopeds? What do they sort of come out at? And it looks about £800 for those mopeds, and that's why they're being bought in huge numbers here. So you can understand why Honda are, by far the biggest manufacturing retailer of mopeds in the world. They really are simple, modular chassis, engine, bolt-on, very simple and straightforward mechanics on those mopeds. But they can't match the Enfield for sound or speed. Really, really good. But as you come into the towns, you'll get the speed restrictors and stuff like that. But they don't really bother you. It's just, and it's good. It does slow you down without doubt, but it slows everybody down. And you get that concertina effect with the vehicles. And as you come up to the vehicles, you can be quicker than them at that point, and then you can scoot past them, which is great because it's really lovely to have an open bit of road here and to get the wind into your clothing, without a doubt. Buses obviously travel pretty slowly, but wow, are they in poor condition. The funny thing is, the buses are quite noisy, so they're always, honking. They get a lot of this going on. But then you get this, bike sort of, call it vectoring into your path, and you think, well, can I go on the inside? No, I've got another bike now. All right, I'm still going to overtake you. I still could be faster than you. and then you're looking for that opportunity just to get past. People do use indicators, but you're never quite sure if it's because they've forgotten to turn it off or they're actually going to turn. You know, like that, you come on the inside, and I've got bikes coming towards me on the inside. But it sort of doesn't matter. It's all part of the fun. It really is great fun. And I used to love coming up to junctions. You come up to junctions and think, what's going to happen at this junction? What we're going to find? You know, and you can see we're undertaking people here. It's quite normal, scooting in and out. You know, what a ride! What a ride! The other amazing thing about riding in India, and it's great for the pillion. I know Karen, because Karen's obviously on the back, and she can watch everything that's going, because it's so colourful in India, and not just because there are colours everywhere, but just because of, there's so much going on, and you can see all sorts, and it's really exciting. But you have to be very careful as the rider, as the driver, not to get too distracted, because it's very easy for something, for the situation to change really quickly. So you do have to be on it. I know I've said this before on some of my rides about being an IAMS rider, and that does make a difference. That has made a difference to me in my spatial awareness and how I watch for hazards coming. I know a lot of people poo-poo things like those advanced rider tests and stuff like that, but I think it's really important. Don't knock it till you try it. I think the experience can be a little bit variable, possibly. Some people, but my experience was fantastic, and I love doing my IAMS, and I think that has made me a better rider. Certainly better equipped for this. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and as we get nearer to getting some fuel. What's really interesting with the fuel, there are petrol stations everywhere. Well, not everywhere, there's quite a few petrol stations, but they would never be able to cater for all the mopeds. So you'll see the solution that the Indians or the Goans have come up with in here. What's lovely though is that with this riding, you're going through the towns with the speed restrictors and stuff, and then you're coming to a nice open area, because it really goes pretty much just, it's colonised jungle, really. So you come into some really beautiful areas. You see all the mopeds everywhere. You've probably seen thousands of mopeds already. But you don't have to go that far to get into some really beautiful areas. And to me, India is just all about the people and the environment. I've never met people so lovely and helpful when you're out and about. It's just fantastic. And the food in Goa is incredibly cheap. The cost of living is really, really cheap. A good 2-course meal with some beers and stuff like that, we were paying probably £12 for that of an evening. The catering is for tourists, really, but you can have all your curries, you can have Thai, you can have English food, you can have your pizza and the rest of it, but it's really, really good food. We never had a bad meal, and anybody thinking, do you have a bad tummy? No, not at all. And it is worth drinking bottled water. Some places where you stay will have filtered water and stuff like that. So, but I always drank bottled water anyway. That's no disrespect to the Goans. It's just sensible to do that, because all the Indians drink bottled water, and why wouldn't you? So we're coming up now to the stop to get some petrol. There's always one person that has to walk into front of the vehicle in there. So you will see what I now mean about unconventional filling of petrol. But this we used all the time, and it is a brilliant way of doing it. It really is. But what you'll notice is the colour of the fuel, and I'll explain that. is that they're using E20, and it is slightly darker in colour. But I'll go back to the live audio.
We made it. 3. How was your ride, Karen?
Bumpy, enjoyable.
There's so much in there. Everything's there.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. Buildings made out of bottles. There's just, you just look. You can't take it all in. It's just amazing.
The one thing I would advise is we always got off the bike and just stepped away from the bike slightly when we were filling up, just to be on the safe side. It just made a little bit of sense to me just to pull us out of the way. I don't want to go up like a Formula One car. Fuel works out about £1.20 a litre, something like that. £1.10p a litre. Doing it this way at a garage, it's probably going to cost you about £1 a litre.
I'll just push it.
So they're making a couple of quid on a couple of pence on there, but that, no problem with that at all.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so we're going to head off to a fort, which is a couple of miles further on.
Thank you.
But hopefully you enjoyed that little look at riding in India, riding in
that
Goa.
worked.
And I'll see you in the next video, which will be more of an in-depth review and thoughts on the Enfield. And I think you might want to watch that because I absolutely fell in love with this bike. And come up with some interesting revelations about the classic bullet, whatever you want to call it. So take care. See you in the next one.